welcome to Homo Politicals on Enterprise Television. Kingsley Bassi is my name. Let's talk about the cost of petrol in Nigeria. Oh well, the recent fuel price slash by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has raised major concerns about market competition, about regulatory oversight and economic sustainability. With Dangote Refinery also in the mix, one wonders if we're witnessing healthy competition or the making of a market monopoly. And that's why today on Homo Politicals we'll be turning attention to the implications of this price war, of an impact on consumers, on independent marketers, and the long-term structure of the petroleum industry. I'm joined today virtually by Gbenga Yonuga Paul. He's a political commentator. Gbenga, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, Kingsley.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let's talk about what appears to be a retaliation by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited against the initial price reduction by Dangote Refinery. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has now slashed the pump price of petrol in its various fuel stations across the country from 945 naira per litre to 860 naira. Well, it is now even gone further to 825 naira since that in Lagos State precisely. In Lagos, 825 naira since Dangote slashed the price. Well, for some other parts of the country, you find that it is bought for 865 naira in Abuja, for example. Well, let's begin this morning with this market dynamic. Is the current price reduction, from your point of view, a reflection of genuine market forces? Or do you think this is a strategic move to eliminate competition and establish dominance?
Well, for me, I believe that the price reduction on both sides is a very good indication that competition drives any market where you want positive change. You know, my own fear is that I know nobody can do price competition with Dangote and win, especially in an industry where for the next foreseeable future, for the next 3-4 years, nobody is likely going to be able to build a facility of the same capacity as his home. And if you don't have that kind of huge capacity for refining like Dangote, I do not see how you are going to do any price competition with him and win. And like you have rightly pointed out earlier on in your introduction, that this might be the laying of foundation for a monopoly in the future, because I think it's on this your program or another program that I spoke about it also, that you see Dangote may make us taste that price reduction such that he will be able to force and buy out all other competition. And once he has successfully bought out all other competitions in the system, then he will jack up his price and there is nothing anybody can do about it. And we could see this happen in the past with Standard Oil Group during the days of the rail and iron magnate competition in the US, where Standard Oil, heavily led by John D. Rockefeller, was able to buy out all competitions and became unstoppable, skyrocketing his wealth over time. So I believe that it's a mixture of the good and the bad. It depends on how quickly the Nigerian government makes the playing field level enough for competitions who are going to do smaller capacity, but plenty of them coming on board and being able to do smaller capacity so that they can compete favorably with Dangote, and then Dangote will not become a monopoly that is untouchable.
Well, for lots of Nigerians, they are concerned about their pockets. What does this mean for their pockets? Well, some Nigerians have celebrated this in some way, saying that this should even come down further. Do you think that this would, further I know you mentioned something like that in that direction, your opening comment, but let's touch on that even deeper. Do you think that with the way Dangote is going, this could even go down further, maybe to some 500, maybe to some 400 naira per liter, which of course many Nigerians would be happy about? But do you think this could go down further? Do you think this is a strategic one gradually to ensure that the entire or the cost of petrol in the country is cheap?
No, I don't think so, because there are lots of market forces that will affect whether the price will go down further or come higher. Don't forget that as at last week, the naira was gaining against the dollar, and as at this week, the dollar is on the rebound, and the naira is crumbling, not like a pack of cards yet, but the naira is falling against the dollar this time around. And all of these market forces affects the price reduction or increment. Also, the price of oil in the international markets, also have its own effect on the pricing that will eventually cascade down to the end user. The third thing that I think that irrespective of these market forces is, two things, but in one. One is that having more players in that field. Dangote has about 650,000 barrel per day capacity. If we have a lot of, let's say we have about 50 to 80, 30,000 barrel per day, or maybe 130,000 barrel per day capacity spread across the Niger Delta, spread across Lagos and other places where they want to establish, you will see that that will ensure that maybe another 300 barrel per day is being refined locally. And if they will be incentivized to do PMS as opposed to the AGO that many of them are currently focused on, because I think it's only a few of them that are even doing Jet A1 fuel. Many of them are focused on AGO, where they are as in the few ones that are operational among the modular refineries and the smaller refineries. So if they can be made to also go into PMS, you will see that if they pump in another 300 barrel per day into the system, then Dangote will not be able to keep its price high. And then that further reduction that you are talking about can be made to happen. But with the exception of market forces like the international price of oil and naira to dollar rate getting stabilized and maybe coming that the naira is going against the dollar, I do not have any assurance that the third option can happen anytime soon. I heard somewhere that Rabiu Bua is doing his own refinery. And that's the only person that I believe can give Dangote a run for his money when it comes to competition in that area, because it seems to me, even though I might not be correct, it seems to me that Mr. Rabiu, I've forgotten his name, Bua, is more patriotic in a way that, yes, every businessman wants to make profit, but he seems interested in finding a way to put Nigeria first while still trying to make his profit. You will remember that in the cement business, he was the first to say, I'm going to do cement, as at that time, 3,005. It was the middlemen and the distributor, that frustrated his effort that time, when they were buying from him at that 3,500 and they were still selling at a very exorbitant rate before the price now eventually jumped to 8,000 naira everywhere, then to 10,000 naira, and I think it's falling back down a little now. I think it's around 9,000 for cement. And also in the sugar business, you will see that it was the odd demand that shows his patriotism and invested in local production such that the price of sugar was able to stabilize. So if his petrol refineries come on board, I personally have a level of confidence that he might be able to sustain the fight. But quickly, let me talk about NNPC. I think NNPC does not even have capacity to compete with Dangote. What they are doing is just propping up, because what is the capacity of their total refining? And with what I know about Nigerian government, I do not even trust them that they are even refining, despite all the, show that they put up, the opening of the refinery,
The
the
loading of
loading.
trucks and the rest.
You saw the controversy that trailed it that time. And with the trust deficit that Nigerian government has made an average Nigerian to have in the government, I do not trust them that they are even, buying, they are even refining locally. That it won't surprise me to see a discovery tomorrow that they were actually importing refined product and putting it in their tank at the refinery and pushing it out as though it was refined there. I won't be surprised if I see or hear that. But even if that were not to be the case, with their production capacity and the total production capacity of their refinery, I do not think that they have the capacity to be able to compete with Dangote. So they must open up the playing field so that as many players as possible who want to go into that refining aspect, I think that's the midstream, they should be given licenses, given level playing ground so that they can, and that is only when we can see sustainable continuous reduction in price, and then we can get to that 500 naira or even lower as you have spoken about.
All right, we need to wrap in just a bit, but before we do that, let's talk about how what this means for businesses. And we'll begin with the value chain, right? The petroleum value chain, or that space, that sector, with independent petroleum marketers, right, struggling to compete. What does the future hold, from your point of view, for smaller businesses in the downstream sector? Does this price war continues?
No. It's good for the people in the downstream sector. It's not affecting them anyhow, because you either choose to buy from Dangote or you choose to buy from from NNPC. Those that it will affect are those who are currently importing, because there will not be enough incentive for them to import, and that is why my concern about dropping the price to kill off competition and then jacking it up to an unsustainable level. That is where my concern is. So it is those who are importing that it will actually affect, because if your landing cost of your petrol that you have imported is 920 naira, and you are selling at ex-depot price of 940 or 950, there is no businessman who will leave a petrol of ex-depot price of 825 and go and buy that of 940, 950. So those are the ones it will affect. And you can see that the value chain, if you observe lately, if you have bought gas recently, you see that gas has come down from 1213 that it used to be. It's about 980, 965 now, depending on which filling station you filled your gas from. It's about 965, 980 the last time, about I think last week Thursday when I tried to fill gas. So, and you will see that the value chain is affecting everywhere positively. Now, will Nigerians be patriotic enough to help this trend to cascade down? Because some of the problem is not even about the government, it's about we, the people. Take, for example, the example of gas I gave to you. I know some areas where they are still selling gas at 1415, and these people are buying it at 980, 960. When you buy gas at 960 and you are taking it to your neighborhood to go and resell, maybe because there is no gas plant nearby your neighborhood, what stops you from selling it for 1.2, maybe maximum 1.3?
But you know that there could be some logistical costs.
There is no logistics
that come to play.
I have calculated the logistical factors in many of those areas. Okay, so the person I followed to the filling station that made me know this price actually wanted to sell his own gas because he buys from the filling station, and all this new site he wants to sell for 1,300. And he told me, he expressed this concern that the moment he changed his price to 1,300, other gas sellers in the area came to meet him and say, don't spoil business for us now. Let's still maintain that old price. And you see, from our calculation, the cost of all the logistics is about 40 naira. Add it to the 965, that is about 1,050 naira. So he is saying, if I make 250 per kg, it's still good enough. But the others are saying, no, we have to make 450, we have to make 500 per kg.
Yeah, again, Menga, I said that other factors because, you consider location, for example. Someone who buys in the highbrow areas of Banana Island in Lagos, of Lekki, would probably sell way higher, considering the cost of renting the shop.
That's where it will shock you. That's where it will shock you to know that those in those highbrow area, because they have easier access to gas refilling stations than those in remote areas, they actually buy cheaper.
So when that person buys cheaper, right, the person considers how much do I pay for rent, the rent in this highbrow location. And so the person will be charging you based on that. When someone in other parts of the state, would be selling for like the 113 that you mentioned, this person will consider, I'm paying so much to pay for rent and the rest.
All of these things in this particular case and in many cases don't have anything to do with all of those factors.
All right.
We know other areas of businesses that have things to do with those factors. It is just that we Nigerians generally, as much as we blame our government and people in government, we are the type of people that the Bible says their thoughts are constantly, I don't want to use the word evil, but our thoughts, our machination, our, towards things. The sole reason why rice is expensive is not because rice is actually expensive. It is these same factors.
Let's refocus real quick because we've got to go in just a moment. Let's refocus to the petrol price and what we have seen, this human factor and this thing that you said about people trying to play smart on other persons when they can just be transparent and accountable, even as much as they demand so of government. We've seen cases where rather than sell at a higher rate and the pump is dispensing accurately, we'll see situations where they would reduce the pump price but not accurately sell or dispense petrol. We've seen reports of people leaving fuel stations and then the meter is not what they would ordinarily get from parting with a certain amount of money. They're not getting that same value because of a particular fuel station. And I'm saying, do you think that this price war could make people continue in this illegal practice?
Of course, you can't take the illegal practice away from people except government wake up to its duty to constantly monitor. With all this private company, one filling station owner, two filling station owner, you see a lot of these things playing out a lot of the time. And also with all this third party franchising their filling station, affiliating it to a bigger brand name, you can see such things happening. But with filling stations that are actually with the big, is it big 5 or big 6 that we call them now in the petroleum industry, you will see that you don't have such cases usually, because they do their own internal monitoring so that they can be NIS ISO compliant. I don't know which of the ISO number, maybe the 9001 or the 1205 something. I don't know which, but they do that internal monitoring to be ISO compliant all the time. But with all these private filling stations, especially those that are located in remote areas, that is where you see these things rampant. And there are lots of factors that makes this thing rampant in those filling stations. For example, a filling station that will take 2 weeks or even 1 month or sometimes 1.5 months to sell a 45,000 liter of a 45,000 liter tank of fuel will, because of the cost, the overall cost, will have to do these sharp practices. But a filling station that sells maybe a 45,000 liter tank in 1 day, in 2 days, they don't have any reasons to be involved in these sharp practices, because their cost is more reduced. So those are some of the other factors, that play in. And if the government want to look at it, they should look at it holistically, and that is why prices must be deregulated, and that is happening already. The price deregulation is happening already. So many of these remotely located filling stations, you will see them still sell at while NNPC and MRS are selling at 860, they will still sell at maybe 950, 960, even up till now, so that they can make their margin.
Okay, we've got to go now, and let's leave things there today on the program. By the way, just to mention, the name you were looking for is Abdul Rabiu of Bua. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes it keeps that way, but yes, that's the name you're looking for. But many thanks, Gbenga Onuoha Paul, for your time discussing this price war between Dangote Refinery and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. For many Nigerians celebrating this, and they want that to continue to come down. This is the moment where lots of people say, let there continue to be war. Let there be war in their midst, so that the things can, these prices can come down.
Most definitely.
Yeah. But we'll just leave that there. This is the kind of war that Nigerians want, and not the violence and, bloodshed. But yes, Gbenga, again, thank you so much for your time this morning. Today, pardon me. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate that. All right, that's Homo Politicals today, and we'll keep monitoring things and keep following the development, and hopefully we see further slash in prices. Maybe the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited should go next, so that Dangote would follow, and then Dangote returns retaliating, and they continue to do that until we get to maybe some 400, 500, and maybe even less. But yeah, as Gbenga said in the course of the program, several factors would come to play regarding this, especially on the global stage. Well, again, that's Homo Politicals. Kingsley Bassey is my name. Until next time, please be safe, and bye for now.